Hi everybody. So just following on a little bit from where last week we did some really nice sun dyeing. I've done a little bit of free motion embroidery, and it reminded me that in the past I've done some other dyeing. Look at these beautiful colours, and there's a callistemon flower and the leaves, really beautiful. So I've dragged out all of my old things, and I have put some very fine iron-on onto the back, and now I'm just doing a little bit of free motion embroidery just to go around the leaf shapes a little bit, just to see how we go. And you know, doing this has reminded me of other things I've done in the past, so we'll come back to this, but in the meantime, let's have a look at some other things I've done. Right. I just wanted to talk about something else that I've been going through lately. Things that I had filed away that I've done in the past. I found some more of my sun dyeing that I'd started. Look, pretty. And things like that. I've put a bit of a backing on them so that I can maybe finish some of them. That would be good. But what we're looking at here, this interesting pile of stuff, is all things that I've stiffened with PVA glue. Look at that. And water. And this is a silk. And that's a silk. But sometimes it might be organza. And why, you might ask, do I do it? Well, good question. The lovely marks in that before we get any further. Isn't that lovely? See, it sort of ends up almost like greaseproof wrap. But, you know, it has that kind of texture. Sometimes it's really, really super thin. So what use is it? Well, I was just having a look at the oddments, and I was looking at two things that I had cut out. But I just thought, isn't that... You can cut out such crisp shapes. This one here was a strip, and then I put a fringed cut on it, and I thought, you know, wouldn't they be lovely as little gumnut flowers? You could stitch over the top of it, something like that. And you know, I have interesting things that I have made from them in the past. So if I wanted to do a flower, that's silk. Look at how lovely it is. And it could also be you know, it's not going to fray or anything. You could just attach it in the center. It's another flower. And so they're really quite pretty. I think they're also really good. I don't have my little scissors, but we'll just have a go here. And this one's just a fabric. That's not a silk at all. But I've given it the same treatment to see what it does, you know. And perhaps looking at that. So I want to do an interesting flower, and that had that as a bud or something. You know? I know I'm just throwing things together here, but I think you can see what I'm talking about. Could be great. Let me show you one more use I've found for stiffened silk. You see the lovely little growths and the ferns here. And yeah, just a few French knots on it and a central stem, and they looked really, really effective. I was really pleased with those. Right, where were we? So I was looking through my little bag of goodies to see what I have. So I have all of this stiffened silk, and here are some flower petals. Must be part of scrapbooking or something. Also perfect. And look at how we'd get that lovely third dimension in there. Beautiful. Do you see? So there's plenty of things I could play with there. And I was thinking I really do need to finish off some of these lovely things that I've started. Well, I've made. Look at that one. Can you see the gorgeous marks of the gum nut flowers? That's crying out for some gum nuts, isn't it? And some leaves. So that's inspiration from old things you have that you might have shelved. That's what I'm sort of talking about. And whilst I was in that same box, I thought, what are these? So that's Scrim. You know, like I do with the linen, but God, I love this stuff. And I used to just, if I was dyeing something else, I'd pick up a piece of this and I'd just go, you know, and wipe it up. And whatever bits came on it, I was happy with, you know. Isn't that lovely? It really is lovely. For adding bits and bobs. You can stitch over it and stuff. Under it. You can do that with it, which is what I like doing with the linen. So Scrim. If you don't have access to linen, get yourself some Scrim and colour it. Isn't it stunning? I find that's very pretty. Anyway, just ideas. Alright, let's get back to one of these though. Right back. Alright, well we could just do one of these ones that we have started here. Let me have a look. Now, I just did a basic. These are those ones from the other day. One of those maybe. So in that case, automatically I'm thinking to myself, no, I don't really want that colour. I could. I don't really want that colour in there. Probably look for something that's some purple or lavender or something. Look at the colour of that. Wow. Okay, what else have we got? These are all the stiffen things we're looking at now. See? Now that one, I wonder how that works, because that's already, maybe I took a bit of something and stiffened that, because it feels stiff, but it's frayed on the edge. Not sure, we'd have to experiment with that. Maybe some things don't stiffen as well as other. That's a nice edge. You know, if you decided you had some buds, for example, and they came out from here and they got more and more, you can't see that, can you? They got more and more pronounced. You know, you could embroider more on the other ones. The ones that were here would just be suggestions, so you could do something like that. Do that this pink though. I don't think it's quite right. Could do it on that one though. Where's that pinky thing we had before? Because I don't know what this is, what particular plant this is. Let's cut that out of the way. Don't ask me what flower this is. It's a made-up flower. I don't really know. I just wanted with the two different. Now this one's obviously a more solid silk. We could just use that little bit of stitching we've done in the background. We could add a little something like that to it somewhere. And we just keep playing with what arrangement we might like, you know. And a little bit of embroidery on there, and you know, we could make that quite nice. So that's what I'm getting at. I think we'll play more with this stiffened silk in the future, but That's really nice. That's a good start. So we didn't do much. I mean, you could even do this. I did free motion embroidery, but you could just do it on with a normal straight stitch, up and back and up and back, and do some vague leafy kind of shapes there. And we'll do one more, a smaller one. There, just coming out. So now let's have a look at that. See how one side of it's really quite shiny on this particular one. That is because that was the side that was down. So when you're doing this and you're using your watered down, I quite like that. Look at how that added to that. When you're using your watered down PVA glue, you put it on something like something plastic. You know, I like using like a placemat, plastic placemat kind of thing, and something flat, and you just wet it down with a half and half mix, or you know, lighter, and then when it's dry, you peel it off, and where it was on the plastic, it's really quite shiny, which you might want some stage. See, quite shiny, but that side is more natural. So I'm just going to say yes, I like that, and just make some sort of nice subtle something there. I think we'll embroider now. And now whilst we're here, because we got this out, let's use some of this as well. Don't know how yet. I'm just going to do that to see. I quite like that purple. See, it's got a tinge of purple in it. I quite like the idea of bringing some more purple into it. But as what? I don't really know yet. Don't really want to obscure the leaves too much. But I'm sure we can add it somewhere into the background, and it would be quite nice. Look at this lovely forms. Something like that. Like that. There. So I think that could make quite a nice little picture. Once you know the size of it, you rearrange to your heart's content too. I think that would be nice and more central. Should this one be off down here? Should it be, yeah, over there, reaching up onto that? Don't really know. But that's composition, and that's what you do. You just play and you think, oh, do I like that better over there actually? Something like that. You know, and then I'm not looking at this bit, I'm just looking at that. And I think, you know, a little bit of something on there, and that'll be lovely. So we'll work on that, shall we? I'm just going to use something quite thick to start with. Got my little very thin stiffening behind. I'm just going to put these little lines in just to let me hold those flowers down to start with, and to suggest a stem. So that's it. So many places it would look good. But see how I've got one larger, one medium, one small. I've got, I don't now have them in a line, I've got them staggered. That's all about making it look good too, the grouping. Yeah, so we've still got that suggestion of leaf there. We've got our flowers in, that's our focal point. The background really doesn't need much more. It's all going to be about the flowers. We might do some lines through this to hold it down. I might just do a bit of a stronger line by making it a double line or something. Make sure I don't pull it tight. Now, if we, before we get into the technicalities of making those pretty, let's put something across this. A bit of green, maybe. Green or purple. And I'm just going to do some nice curves, curvy lines to hold that down. There's your nice hand-dyed variegated thread. This one's a linen I was experimenting with to see what difference it was. Like I say, it really doesn't take much. I'm going to do another line of this. Then we might bring in some nice lavender or something. Blue. Something. Let's get our little thing, because you know how I like to look at it as a picture. Isn't that pretty? This is what I mean about making these sun-dyed backgrounds, where you know, or using a Balinese fabric or something. You know, it's very suggestive of things, and it makes a beautiful background, I think. And if I decided I wanted more of that colour to show, I'd just do that. Make more of it show up like that. See? There, I like that better. So you can keep changing your mind. It's not set in concrete. Well, that's the right lavender, but it's shiny. Maybe. Look at you. God, I love that. Alright, it has to go in. Right. Well, here I am adding in that lovely blue, just because I like it. I'm going to add some nice sweeping lines down in a diagonal behind the flowers, sort of echoing those leaf shapes that we have in the background. So there's a little more to do here. I'm going to add some nice marks to the flowers, and maybe bring in a little bit of purple, that lavender color that I already got out. So here you can see I'm just doing some fly stitches and some straight stitches, and just in from the edge a little bit, and it's a nice shiny goldy orange color, and it's adding a little bit of brightness to those flowers. You can see I'm doing that middle flower now, and now I'm going right out to the edge, and I'm just using it to hold that edge down as well. So maybe a few different colors there, like and now I'm just sort of adding in it's the thick variegated one I saw before, and I'm going to use it to do just a few French knots there on the ends. See, I also brought a little bit of green in and put a little bit of that in as well on the flowers. And up here I've got some seed stitch in that shiny lavender. So not a lot really, but quite effective. So I hope you've enjoyed watching that and have a go at the stiffened fabrics. Don't forget to press like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video.